Chris,
well, listen, Mark, listen, hold on. When I say, would you have caffeine today?
What the hell is that up to then?
How much coffee did you drink before the show?
Listen, you can't polish a sneaker, right? throw tomatoes at me, do whatever you're going to do.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. And I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime sitting right over there, Mark Catone. And in the booth, Joe Guarnieri, bringing us live to you and you. We want to welcome you in. Call in, chat in, email. Mark, there's so many ways to get in touch with us.
It's getting confusing now. I got to write it down, Chris.
It is, but Joe will have up on the screen the way to get directly into the feed so you can get live on the show. We want to hear from you by email, too. Corso.catone@gmail.com. Get on your Twitter, Corso and Catone. And I'm so excited for the Heated Hotline. I love the Heated Hotline, Mark. So listen, make sure you call in, leave us a message 24/7, 855-313-PATS, 855-313-7287. Call, leave a message about anything. Tell us what you want. Give us your thoughts. I don't care if it's 4 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday. Give us a call, leave the message. We'll play it on the air. And there's some funny ones, Mark. I will tell you that are calling in. But we have a great show today. Packed as usual, packed. As promised last week, we will be talking Yankees versus Red Sox. And you're never going to want to miss Catone's comments. Stay tuned in the show for that. It's another great one. So make sure that's coming up later in the show. And for you diehard Patriots fans, we're going to be talking QB battle. We're going to be talking Gilmore watch. There was a couple of trades made this week. Mark finds significant. So we'll talk to you about that. And one more to go. One more preseason game to go tomorrow night versus the Giants. So, Mark, listen, I want to get to the Heated Hotline because,
Let's do it.
This is a good one. It's a funny one. So the Heated Hotline is going to be brought to you by Special Sauce Podcast, specialsaucepodcast.com. What do we have, Joe?
John from Revere. Look, I took a Rask. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm finished with Duke the Rask. I mean, he couldn't win. He couldn't win anything. He couldn't win anything. It was Tim Thomas. He couldn't win anything. We all know it. We saw it. We were there. When he screwed up against St. Louis, when he win in Game 7 in his own house. I'm done with Duke the Rask. We don't need him anymore. Swayman is the best next goalie ever to come out. This is who we have, and he's here on our bench. This city lets people go like Brady. Don't let Swayman go. He's the best goalie. But he can't be the best goalie. But Duke the Rask enough. And every time he opens his mouth and says he wants to stay here, he won't play anywhere else, he makes it real hard to kick his ass out. I don't know.
And so that was the Heated Hotline. That was and John from Revere. Mark, it sounds like he actually sounds like your little kid or something. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about? He doesn't sound like me. What are you, crazy?
He sounds like you, but listen.
Come on.
And John, if you're listening out there, we appreciate the message. And like I said, everyone, leave us a message because we will play it. You never know. So, Mark, listen, does he make a good point?
He does make a good point, Chris. We talked about this during the season, that it's Rask. It's time for Rask to go. But here's the thing, Chris. Rask isn't under contract, I don't believe, for next year. So we don't need to bring him back. I mean, I know he says, I won't play anywhere else. Okay, good. Don't play anywhere else. Go back to, whatever. You want to go play in the country, I think wherever he was from, he had talked about, well, maybe I'd go play there, but he won't play for any other NHL team. Well, guess what? It's time to move on. I don't think you'll ever win a Stanley Cup with Rask. So to our caller's point, I think it is time to go to one of the guys we have on the bench, Chris. In my opinion, I agree with the caller 100%.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, John, he makes a good point. Because it makes it tough. And I think that's what he's saying too. It's hard to kick him down. It's hard to not, when you got a guy basically saying, hey, it's Boston or bust, I want to finish it with these guys, and he's making these comments about, Krejci's gone. He's at the Czech now playing with them. But, you got Marchand, you got, Bergeron, you got the core guys that he wants to finish with, and I even think he throws McAvoy on that pile too at this point. And so he wants to play in Boston. No, it just makes it difficult. And, the thing about it is why, and that's fine for him to say. I mean, it's good to hear. I mean, you have so many other guys talking about how it isn't great playing in Boston, or a lot of criticism. So it's nice to hear someone say that it is. But so let me understand. I mean, he's not going to be ready. Rask isn't going to be ready until like almost halfway through the season.
Because didn't he have surgery?
Yeah, he's going to miss and he's going to miss a good portion of the season, or at least the front quarter of the season. So now you're going to have a guy like Swayman sitting. I assume it will be Swayman. They added some goalie depth.
So what would you do, Chris? So say hypothetically you brought Rask back in, like you just said, this kid's there for almost half the season playing really well. What are you going to do with Rask? You're not going to flip this kid out of the starting lineup anyway. I mean, maybe Rask could play in spots to give the kid a break or a rest, but how do you pull this kid if he's playing well? I mean, what are you going to do with Rask? Anyway.
I mean, picture the makeup of the team and the landscape of the team. If you decide Rask is coming back out from injury and you're not going to give him something, you're going to sign. I would think that you're going to have to. I'm not sure how it works with the injury, but is he going to have to be on that roster? So will they have to take care of that? We'll have to figure that out. Will they have to take care of that before the league season begins, to have him on that roster to rehab there? But yeah, I agree. What if Swayman's playing? Swayman's playing great, and what are you going to do? You're going to take Rask now just because he's coming back? And I'm just trying to understand why Sweeney, why Neely, why are these guys considering, why are they leaving the door open for this guy? I mean, it's enough now. I'm with John. Bye. Okay, thank you for your service. We appreciate it. Go on a golf course somewhere. All I want to hear from Rask right now is, it's been great. It's been fun. We came up short a few times. I'm going to go play golf. Well,
Chris, I'm going to be honest with you. He gave it his best shot. I mean, as John said, he came up short against St. Louis. Game 7 in our house, he couldn't put the numbers up. He couldn't stop it. He couldn't. We couldn't walk away with the cup. At that point, Chris, it was probably time to move on from him. We gave him more time, and like to the caller's point, the Patriots moved on from Brady. You can't move on from Rask? Are you kidding me? Come on, right. Bruin, step it up. Make a decision. Jesus.
Yeah, I think he overplayed Swayman's role a little bit. I think John was probably. Joe, we have to see what time that call came in. I'd be surprised if that call came in any earlier than like 3 and any earlier than like 2 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Chris, I thought it was a well thought out call.
It was fantastic, and it's exactly what we're looking for on the Heated Hotline. But he's right. Look, enough. Get this guy out of here. We had enough of this dude. But ownership's got to get on board. We have to listen to ownership, and they at some point get up and say, or not ownership, but Neely and company and Sweeney, and say, look, we're done with this guy. He's been great, but we have a guy in the house that we think is going to play well. Enough with Rask. It's nice we have the rah-rah crap, but it's time to move on for him. So I agree with the caller. I think he's spot on this situation. So that's the Heated Hotline, brought to you again by Special Sauce Podcast. Startup, drive, and finance your business to success. SpecialSaucePodcast.com.
Chris, maybe Rask would like to come on and talk about his situation. I'd love to hear what he's thinking and why he wants to come back at this point.
Yeah, listen, I mean, they were going to have to ask him another few questions then.
I'd love to have Rask come on. I invite Rask to come on. I'd love to have a conversation with Tuukka Rask, Chris.
Yeah, well, again, it's time for Tuukka Rask to go, I think.
Yeah.
So. Okay, Mark. So coming up here, we want to talk a little bit of, I think we're going to get into some Yankees Red Sox talk right now. And that's going to be brought to you by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Thank you, Joe. As I was saying, Yankees Red Sox brought to you. I promised we'd have it. Yankees Red Sox brought to you by CorsoLawGroup.com.
Come on, wake up, Joe. You're a little slow there today. Come on, Joe. Let's go.
Corso Law Group, allow us to be your voice. Joe, Mark, Yankees, Red Sox, you start. You pick. Who do you want to start with?
Well, let's start with the Yankees. They won 13 games in a row. How do you not start with the Yankees? You have to.
That's what I think, but we are the real deal New England feel.
Yeah, so, hey, listen, we're going to start with the Yankees. Chris, listen. Boy, do they look like a different team, huh? They're hitting, they're getting pitching, they're getting their bullpens working. I mean, granted, Chapman's still a little shaky, but man, they're doing things that we thought they would be doing back in May, in April. Now all of a sudden they're hitting their stride. And isn't it funny, Chris? You infuse a little bit of different people in the lineup. Rizzo, right? Gallo. And then, hey, listen, for what it's worth, Gleyber Torres gets hurt. This young kid they brought in from the Bronx. He was born and raised in the Bronx. This kid Velasquez, right?
Oh, I love this kid.
Right, how about that? He brought some energy and something, you know what I mean, to the lineup, Chris. Like they're bringing something different. You know, the lineup seemed stale before this. These guys infused something into the lineup.
Mark, we talked a lot about, over the last several months about they're loaded up with 3 and 4 hitters. They got 3, 4, 5 hitters, 3, 4, 5 hitters, up and down the lineup. There's no role guys. There's no guys that are doing the little things and so on. And now the guys that you're mentioning, they have seemed to kind of infuse that sort of a role mentality onto the team. So it isn't just, hey, Judge, we're going to need a home run out of you now. Stan, we're going to need a home run out of you right now. It's now more of, hey, let's get the extra base hit. Hey, let's stretch them. Let's, you know what I mean? Let's stretch the bases a little bit. Let's run a little bit. Let's see what we can do about manufacturing some runs and getting guys in scoring position. That seems to be where, and I'm not going to give Boone any credit for that though, Mark. Are you?
Of course we're not going to give Boone any credit. We want him out.
That's it. Yeah, I don't care if he should get credit. I'm not giving him any credit for it.
No, of course not. Well, listen.
But is that what you see, though, Mark? I mean, do you see that's what?
I think here's what happened with Boone, right? Boone got lucky. So Cashman makes the moves. I'll give Cashman credit. Cashman makes the move to shake up the lineup. He brings in 2 lefties. He brings in Gallo and Rizzo, right? Okay. And then he got lucky by default injuries. Okay, Torres goes out, so this kid, the shortstop Vasquez, comes in, right? And then third base, Urshela gets hurt, and Odor is in, and Odor's been doing a decent job. And then they had some injuries in the outfield where they were rotating some guys in and out, but now they've kind of settled that down. But all that mixing around of different guys in the lineup because of different reasons, Chris, I think made it easier for Boone because, now all of a sudden you got away from that 3-4-5. Every batter's a 3-4-5 hitter. And you're right. It's making Boone look good, but I don't think it's anything Boone's doing. Do you?
No, I think that they Cashman or company or whoever brought in the product. I think he saved his job, but we keep talking about that. Then I think Cashman gets a pass now.
Especially if they make a deep run, Cashman has to get a pass now. I think, Chris.
Right, and especially if they catch the Rays. So no, I mean, I think it's a matter of bringing the right kind of guys on that are doing little things and pushing other guys, like you said, pushing guys like Voit. Rizzo comes in and pushes a guy like Voit to be better. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And I will say this, Chris, I think with the injuries they had in the rotation and even some of their bullpen, I think the one thing that has shown, and this is going to be a credit to Cashman, is the Yankees had enough talent in their minor league system to bring guys up. I mean, there's guys coming out of the bullpen, Chris, that you haven't never heard of that they've brought up over the last 2 months, and they're doing their job. They're giving them an inning. They're getting them outs. They're doing what they're asking them to do. And these are guys who've just been rotating in from AA and AAA. And so I think it at least showed that what Cashman's building of the farm system has worked because they've had an infusion of young guys coming out of the bullpen that, that they out of necessity because of injury, they had to, and even the starting rotation, and it's working. And it seems like that young blood also helped.
Yeah, it's nice. It's refreshing to see too out of New York because typically you don't see that kind of thing. And Mark, so flipping the table because we are the real deal, New England feel. So flipping it to the Red Sox side of things, first, listen, should Cora be getting more shit for this?
Well, yeah, because I think the type of manager Cora is, Chris, is Cora's more of a player's type of a guy, right? And he's one of the fellas, right? And he gets along with the guys and he makes the right moves, but he's one of the fellas, right? They can talk to him in a way maybe you wouldn't be able to talk to a typical manager. He was a player. He played for the Red Sox, and he can have those conversations with guys. But is he the right guy now that they're struggling to kick him in the ass and get him rolling? I don't know.
Look, at some point in time, and we talked about this with the Celtics a little bit when Stevens was there with Marcus Smart and all these guys and Tatum, and it's the same situation over here. I mean, look, what's going on? I mean, the conversations, and we had this conversation last week, and we've been hearing it across the landscape, all week long about why is this happening? Are they still upset about the talk? Enough now with the trade deadline. I don't want to hear it anymore from these damn players. If you're that mentally friggin', you can't, you're a professional baseball player, or you consider yourself to be a professional baseball player. Get over it, okay? And play the way you play for the first 105 games. I mean, this is not a matter of, just because of who they're going against now, they're playing better talent. They play the same teams, for the first 105 games as they got now. So, I mean, yeah, they're winning, and now they're squeaking out these games over the last several days, but against crap teams. We'll see what happens next week against Tampa. But Mark, when you have guys like, Verdugo the other night, he's bailing out a real crappy reliever over there. I mean, I think it was Cologne that was pitching against him or something. And, Verdugo made him look great. And that shouldn't be happening, okay? And then, Vasquez, again, the defense has been just atrocious. Dahlbach is, he hit the ball a little bit, but he's terrible. He's a terrible player.
They replaced him. Now they got Schwarber, the guy that picked up playing, right?
And that was another thing. They go pick up Schwarber. He's another a DH kind of guy. You're gonna fit that square peg into the round hole and put him over at first base, right? Because so the point is, these guys seem to just be laying down. Okay, they're not playing to their potential or what they were playing. And I don't see, at some point, does Cora need to yank these guys off the friggin' field? It's okay. You're done for today.
Well, the thing is, Chris, the Red Sox don't have a lot of depth, right? What are they going to tap into? Their minor league system, when the other general manager was there, his system was you bring in veterans that know how to play and know how to win. And in order to get those guys, he got rid of a lot of their young talent to do that. Hey, they won a World Series. Hey, all the power to Dombrowski, right? That's Dombrowski's MO. He comes in, he brings in veterans, he brings in guys who know how to win. Your farm system is hurting for a few years after he leaves, but he'll get you in contention. He did that. They won a World Series. So now, Chris, they don't have anything to tap into. I mean, this guy Duran, they were talking about him like he was the next Ted Williams. They brought him up from the Wu Sox. He's batting about 220. I haven't been impressed with him. They were talking about, this kid's going to be a stud. Maybe he will be. But right now, the kid is struggling, So they really don't have anything. Like, who do you replace these guys with? They don't have the system to tap into, Chris. Like I said, back to the Yankees. Fortunately, Chris, they had the guys. When injuries came and they needed guys to infuse some life into the lineup, they were able to tap into not only the guys they got from the trade deadline, but guys from the system, the minor league system. The Red Sox right now don't have that, but I think that's what Chaim Bloom has been charged with, to rebuild, right, some of that system. So he can, and that's what they did when he was in Tampa. I mean, Tampa had it's got a great farm system.
Well, yeah, and so I get that, and I just feel like Boone's, Cora's going to have to do something just to shake things up just for the rest of the season. Put a guy.
Well, now they got a couple of guys with COVID, Chris.
Yeah, well, right. So maybe you'll see some other, come in.
Well, last night they brought in a kid from the minor leagues. He hit the game-winning home run. He wouldn't have been in the lineup if Kiki Hernandez didn't get COVID. So maybe that'll help.
We'll see how they do against Tampa. So the Yankees versus Red Sox, that was brought to you again by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal firm, corsolawgroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. When we come back, don't tune away, don't turn off, because Catone's comments is next. We have.
So, Chris, 2 weeks ago, my daughter's birthday, she turned 16, right? Sweet 16. She turned 16 on August 11th. So my wife, wants to put a banner out in front of the yard. She was out with her friends in the morning. She wants to come home and see this banner. So she sends me to one of those big box stores, those big box stores. She said, you got to go get 4 of these big, the wooden yardsticks, right? Okay. So I go get 4 wooden yardsticks. So I go to the big box store. I go in. I look around, I look at the signs, and I'm like, okay, you know what? It's going to be in one of these aisles. I'm looking at, what they put up for where things are. So I go down these aisles. I look, I can't find nothing. So I'm like, okay. I'm looking around. You can't find a worker in any of these stores to give you any assistance anywhere. The place is the size of Arizona, and I can't find a worker. I'm like, are you kidding me? This place is miles long. Where are the workers? Okay, finally I see somebody in like a blue smock or something. I said, oh, could you give me a little help? And the kid says, yeah, what do you need? I said, I'm looking for yardsticks. He looked at me like I was speaking another language. He didn't know what a yardstick was. I'm getting old, Chris. I said, it's like a long wooden ruler. I tell him how long it is. He said, oh, okay. Yeah. He said, I think that's in the lumber section. I said, the lumber section? He says, yeah. I said, okay.
Wait, what were you looking for again? Say that again.
The big rulers, we call them yardsticks.
Okay, yeah,
right?
Got it.
Okay, so I go over there. Yeah, I'm looking around. Nothing.
In the lumber section.
First of all, that didn't make any sense to me anyways. But I went. I get there. I look around. Nothing. Now I said, Jesus, where the hell could this be? I'm looking around. I'm looking for somebody else that works there. I got a better shot of him. Powerball. Right? So finally, I see another person in the blue smock. I said, hey, could you help me? I'm looking for, yardstick. I explained what it is. Oh, yeah. He said, I think it's in aisle 13 or 14. I said, you don't know? He said, well, no. I said, okay, I'm going to roll the dice like I'm gambling. I'm throwing craps now. I'm going to roll the dice. It's either 13 or 14. Let's go. Let's roll the dice, right? So I roll the dice. I go to those 2 aisles. Do you think I found them? No, absolutely not. At this point, I need an oxygen tank. This store is so damn big. I'm looking for oxygen. I'm like, is this crazy? I can't find anything in this store. So now, finally, I grab another person. And they said, oh, it's a display in the front of the store.
You didn't even have to walk around the store. You could have stayed up in the front.
I said, they're in the front of the store. He said, yeah. I said, oh, good, great. I go to the front of the store. Nothing. I finally get directed, Chris, to the paint aisle, and then where the paints are. Of course, when I first walked in the store, I thought they might have been there. I walked by them. I didn't see them. They're hidden in a basket under a shelf. You can't see them. So now I get them. I run out of that store. Run out. I can't breathe. The thing's miles. My smartwatch was beeping. I walked so much. I said, holy Christ, how many miles did I do in this store? Steps. Right? I get home. My wife says, Jesus, honey, where did you go? It was 45 minutes you were gone. I said, where did I go? Where did I go? You sent me on a wild goose chase in a box store. I'm done with those stores.
See, and you know what though, Mark, he's nuts, but he's right. I mean, honestly, you used to go in these places like that, Home Depot, the Costco and what do you got over there? BJ's? Is that? We got
BJ's, Costco, Lowe's. We got them all. Nobody works in these stores. You can't get help, and if you do, they don't know where the stuff is.
It used to be they were falling on top of you. Now all of a sudden you can't. Nobody. I felt that. I've definitely felt that when you walk in those places and you're trying to find anything. But Mark, it's a little odd. They would send you to paint for that, no?
Chris, I went everywhere, and it's not like the store's up to a little store. That thing's miles long, miles and miles long. These stores.
So you would have been. You know what? You would have been better staying in the lumber section, taking a piece of wood.
Yeah, measuring it and cutting it. Yeah,
cutting it all out.
Yeah.
writing
I
all the
should've.
numbers down on it.
That's what I
You
should have
know?
did. I didn't need the numbers. I just needed the length so she could stick the banner on these and put it in the ground. I was looking for
Joe.
these sticks. I couldn't find them.
Joe, do you run into that trouble too in these places? Do you like going to those places, Joe?
I just take my time walking around because there is nobody. He's right there. There's nobody around to help you out. So I just like take my time, look, and I find my stuff, that way. That's the only way.
You know what's funny? You don't want to know what's funny about it, and we'll
Funny. I need an oxygen tank, Joe. He thinks it's funny.
What's funny about these places is they're all pretty much laid out the same way, right? I mean, you would think they're all laid out the same way, but I've been in those places, okay? Like I've been in Home Depot, and I'll go to Home Depot in this area, walk in, I pretty much know, where everything is. Then I go to another one, and it's like laid out. It feels like I'm in the Twilight Zone because it's laid out it's all the same sections, but it's like different. It's like reversed or something like that. Like it's like all of a sudden paint is like over there now, or it's on the back end. And then you run into that trouble, Mark, right? Where you got like front aisles and then back aisles too.
Oh, that drives me crazy.
So you're saying, well, it's in aisle 14. Okay. So you're in the front portion of aisle 14, but wait a minute. The store's longer than that. Well, that's not a continuation of aisle 14. That's like aisle 21 now.
Yes.
Like on the other one.
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
Yep.
For a moron like me, okay, those stores don't work. I can't, I need it to be the same, like I need a map sitting in my face telling me where every stupid thing is on the shelf, on the place. Or I'm like Mark walking around like a zombie drooling on myself looking for yardsticks. Mark, by the way, what were you using a yardstick for?
I told you my wife wanted the yardstick. Joe, isn't he listening to my story?
No, but look, in other words,
my wife
who uses
wanted
a
to
yardstick? Don't you have a tape measure? I mean,
No,
yardstick.
she wanted to put the banner onto the yardstick, tape it, and stick it in the grass. See, he's out there in Arizona, Joe.
You should just buy him a
The sun. It's the sun.
No, he
Gets
don't
to
have
him.
grass anymore. He's sticking it over there. There's no
What?
such thing.
Why don't you just buy her a piece of wood, a stick?
Listen, I did.
You're looking for a ruler.
I did what I was told.
You did the right thing.
Thank
Joe,
you, Joe.
I gotta, you know what, Joe? I gotta blame him for that. I gotta blame him completely for that. So,
I got blamed for that. Imagine this.
Catone's comments again brought to you by Jag Media Productions. On the other side, we want to talk for you diehard Patriots fans. We're going to talk QB battle, Gilmore watch, all of that, and your Patriots talk right after this.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray. That's it.
What is wrong with
Get him on this damn
you?
show.
Lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
God, I get so excited. Joe, you could do 10,000 things wrong in this show, but as soon as I hear that, okay, that you put together, God, I'm ready. I'm like ready, man. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Oh, we're close.
Is
We're
anybody
close.
like,
We're
oh,
close.
just me ready for this thing or
We're
what?
close. We're
I
getting
mean, come
close.
on.
We're getting there.
Don't forget Pat's Nation. Don't forget it. Pat's Nation. We saw the commercial brought to you, by Corso and Catone. 30 minutes following the game. Mark, QB battle. And it is one. We're in it. A lot happened this week, so let's get into it. Cam Newton is out for 5 days because he screwed up the whole COVID protocol, whatever he didn't do or did do or didn't do or whatever it was. Belichick's clear that he didn't violate any team rules, but he's out for 5 days. Belichick makes it clear that it's an opportunity for Mac Jones, and we talked about it. Is he going to take advantage of it? Well, what's your assessment of what took place?
Well, I think he definitely took advantage of it, Chris. I think, the first day.
And reminded people they were practicing with the Giants this week.
They were. The first day, Chris, he did a little, he did okay. But then when they had their first live scrimmage with the Giants, they said he was absolutely lethal. He sliced and diced them. He had his best day of the whole camp, and it was at one point, Chris, he took them on a 2-minute drive, and he threw a pass to Jacoby Myers in the seam like 30-40 yards over double coverage. After it ends, the defense is on the field. Belichick should be standing behind the defense to watch the defense. He strolls himself over to make sure he sees Jones and gives him like a low five, high five, because it was what he did was so impressive. Now, what does that mean for the QB battle, Chris? Did he leapfrog Newton? I don't know. What do you think?
No, and it's I'm mixed on this, Mark. I keep going back and forth in my own brain, on this situation, because I see what you see, and welcome back in, Paula. We see Paula's our normal regular listener chatting in. Great to see you too. Mark, listen, I hear what you're saying. I hear what everybody's saying about that. Mac Jones took the opportunity, and I'm happy for that, for his maturation there. Now, does that mean he's ready to start week 1? There are still some things he didn't do during that time. Yeah, he was good. He lit it up. But there was a couple of times, a few times where one, he was about to get sacked. They let the play continue on. He completed the pass. It looked like the defensive back let up a little bit. There was another 2 times where defensive backs for the Giants had interceptions in their hands, basically, and dropped them. There was another couple of times during the session where he threw behind a couple of receivers, and one where he led him a little too far, that if the receiver actually laid out for it, he would have gotten just destroyed and lit up. So he's still making mistakes too. But I believe that he took a huge step, and he took a huge step in showing Belichick what Belichick wants to see. The problem becomes, is it enough right now to throw him in week 1? Is it enough with the intangibles too? Are you ready to watch film on Miami? Are you ready to get prepared for an NFL defense is going to bring you? Or is it better for you to sit a little longer and just do those things as a backup first? Because I will say this, I don't think he's going to start the regular season. I still think it's going to be Cam Newton, and I'm disappointed by that, but I think that I think we will see him sooner now because of it. Does that make sense?
So, yeah. So, Chris, I agree with you. So I think, based on what we have talked about and what you talked about on the previous show, so you got to be ready, because once Jones goes on the field and is your starter, there's no going back. If you start him week 1, you're not pulling him week 3 to put Newton in. Newton is the person you're going to pull. And we talked about this, Chris. So you're right. They'll give him a couple of weeks to look at real NFL film, because, listen, it's a scrimmage, yes, but it's preseason. They're not showing you anything exotic. You're going to really see defenses 1, 2, week 3, right? So you're right. I think you're still going to see Newton as your starter week 1, but Jones took a huge step, and I think Jones showed him, listen, you call on me, I'm ready. I'm an NFL quarterback, and I can play this position, and I'm going to be damn good at it. And I think he will be good at it. But I think you're right, Chris. I think Newton's going to start week 1, because you can't start Jones and pull him. It's easy to let Jones go. If he struggles, slips up, you pull him. Jones goes in. Jones never comes out. That's the end of the Cam Newton.
That's it.
That's the end of Cam Newton in New England. He'll play out the string of the season, and then he don't come back next year, and Jones is the guy you're going with. So I think you're 100% right, Chris, in saying Newton's going to start week 1. But my prediction, I'm going to stick with it. Week 5,
yeah,
Jones comes in, and I'm going to tell you why, Chris. 2 reasons. One, if and I think it's going to happen. I know you disagree with me. I think we're going to get our ass kicked week 4 because I think the baddest MF in the planet.
What the hell am I coming into? Where am I coming to watch that?
Listen to me. The baddest MF on the planet is going to stick it right where the sun don't shine. That's number 1, right? You're shaking your head. Look.
I'm shaking my head because you're making me come in there flying across the country to go watch them get their ass kicked. I'll sell the tickets, Mark. Hey.
That's what we do. That's what we do. We have to go to the game.
I watched Tom Brady before. I've seen him in that stadium lighting it up. I've seen him for 20 years lighting it up.
Yeah, but not
I don't need to come and see him do it against us.
Not in those creamsicle uniforms.
Oh.
Chris, listen. The second reason is this: if he brings him in week 5, if we get our ass kicked, he'll have to face the music, Belichick. Post-game press conference Monday morning. But then, when he makes the switch, the rest of that week that shifts from Belichick to Jones. So he can deflect the abuse he would have gotten for weeks because Brady came in there and kicked his ass. And now the conversation turns to, okay, Mac Jones, the Mac Jones era. And everybody forgets what just happened in week 4 because Brady came in here and made you look silly.
Yeah, no, listen, you can't make that the first game that he plays.
No, it's going to be week. If he comes in, it's week 5.
There's too many built-in pitfalls there for him. Even if he plays well, you're still succeeding. You know, you're still replacing number 12. You know, you're still replacing number 12. You're never going to look as good as you have to look in that particular. That's just setting a kid up.
That's why, Chris, I think week 5 he makes that.
If he starts week 1, fine, then he goes through.
Yeah, but I think you're right, Chris. I think Newton starts the first 4 weeks. In week 5, I think you see the switch.
But does it piss you off? See, like, here's the thing. You know, the fan in me, you know, the football person, the football guy says, okay, looking at the X's and O's, looking at the way these two guys have played, you know, I like the fact that Mac Jones did. I already explained that, of what he did. And the fact that what I like about it is that he saw the opportunity and he took advantage of it. You know, that's somebody who can do this job, you know, and that are showing that they're going to be
Chris,
ready to do this job.
I think by doing that, he won the locker room over too. And
Belichick needs to be a little bit careful about that too, Mark, that you mentioned that, because if he wins the locker room and Belichick just continues to be stubborn, then, you know, he's going to lose the team. But I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're quite there yet.
No, I don't think we're there, but I think Jones did impress the locker room that day.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys have said it, unsolicited. You know, Hightower and guys like that, Slater, the unsolicited, they've given their opinion as to how they think Jones is playing. But from the fan perspective, looking at it, I can understand why people are like, come on, what the hell is happening? Why is Belichick so loyal to this guy? You know, switching it to Cam Newton now. Do I think he's improved from last year to this year? Yeah, I do. But why the hell, Mark, does it appear that a guy this is the same guy, okay, that when Richard Seymour's grandfather died, okay, he had a miss because of the funeral, came back and didn't start the game. He was held out a series. This is who we're talking about, Bill Belichick, right?
Yeah.
So, like, how the hell is it? Don't you feel like Belichick has been a complete apologist for Cam Newton so far? He's given him all these excuses. I mean, Cam Newton hasn't been good enough. He didn't even give this crap to Brady. Deflategate, Mark. He didn't go to the podium and say, my quarterback will never do something like that. He didn't break any team rules. Yet, you got Cam Newton the stiff. Why is this happen? Why does it look that way, Mark? What's he owe this guy?
I don't know, Chris. I have no idea what it is, what it's about. I don't know. But I will tell you this. I understand the team that we put on the field last year was bad. It was a bad team. But my God, would you ever think a quarterback who played that poorly, Bill Belichick, would stick with him? A quarterback, Chris, I know we didn't give him any weapons. I totally understand that. But oh my God, Chris, he looked pathetic. He couldn't draw a ball. And Belichick stuck with him.
It isn't even so much that. It is that, absolutely. Yeah, that he was atrocious on the field. But when you couple that with the clear, I mean, you were hanging your head on, well, he's a good leader, you know? He's a good leader.
Okay,
he's a good locker room.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
Yeah, but is he, though? I mean, is he? Look at this event that just took place here. You know the protocols. You don't want to get vaccinated. We're not going to get political, okay? We're not going to get political about vaccination, talking about Cole Beasley and everything that's going on in Buffalo. You're not vaccinated. You chose not to do it. So there are protocols you got to follow. You know what they are. Where the hell are you going? You can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere in season. You can't leave the state. You can't do that stuff if you're not going to be vaccinated. If you're not going to, they've set the rules up in a way where non-vaccinated players have got to jump through a lot more hoops, right? That's just the reality. So this clown goes and does whatever he does, screws up the protocol, and now he can't be, that's a death sentence historically with Bill Belichick. I mean, that isn't it?
Chris, I don't get it. I honestly don't know what the fascination is and what the thing is with Newton, but you're right. Newton has received a pass on more things than he's ever typically done. You're right. And he was harder on Brady than he was on Newton. That's for damn sure. Now, I don't understand it. I just don't get it. But I will say this. Can't hold on to Newton too long, Chris, if he doesn't perform, because he'll lose the locker room because the kid, they know you don't get Jarrett Stidham sitting behind this guy. You got a player. You got a kid that can play. And number two, I don't think Bob Kraft is going to allow it. Because Kraft told him to draft a quarterback. In 20 years, has Kraft ever intervened in the draft? No. You bet your ass. Ownership told him, you're getting a quarterback in this draft. He took a quarterback in this draft. Whether he wanted to or not, he took one. And you bet your ass, if Newton's struggling, he's going to say, Bill, it's time to make the goddamn move. Get him out of there. I think Kraft is going to be more involved, Chris, in what goes on with this team. And I also think the clock is ticking on Belichick, that transition to McDaniels. I really do.
No, I think you're right. I agree. And look, the decision's been made. I mean, Mac Jones is the next quarterback of this team. I think.
He absolutely is. And I think he's proven
it's a timing thing. So maybe Belichick's sitting out there saying, and it's just speculating. He's saying, look, this is, I need Cam Newton for what I need him for right now. I don't want to make this a huge story. I'm not going to I need to get through the first several weeks. I need to get this kid, Belichick's got a timeline in his brain. And that's what he's going to stick with, regardless of what you or I or anybody else thinks. And so if he's got to appease Newton for now because that's the guy he's got sitting there, then I guess that's what he's going to do. So it's maybe he sees it as the betterment of the team.
I think, Chris, maybe he appeases Newton, like you said, and he's got a timeline in his brain. And maybe he's saying to himself, the first game, this kid falls flat on his face. I'm making the move. I'm making the move immediately. Yeah. I ain't sitting there like last year when he goes, 7 for 8, 920 and throws 2 picks and looks horrendous. I don't got to sit there anymore. I'm going to make the move, and I'm going to say, Cam, I got to make the move. This is about the team, not about you. I gave you your shot. You couldn't do it. I got to go with the kid now. I got the kid ready to go, and that's what's going to happen. But I don't think he does it. To your point, Chris, he will not do that before the Brady game. Because I don't think he wants to put Mac Jones against Brady. I don't think Newton cares. Newton can handle that stage, but the kid won't be able to handle that stage. That's why I think it's going to come week 5. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's week 6, but it's going to come after Brady.
Yeah, well, you know what? Newton didn't show a hell of a lot of leadership this week.
He didn't. He didn't.
Mark, 30 seconds. Talk about this Michelle trade. What do you make of that?
Listen, Chris, I know they're conditional picks, but it could turn into a 4th-round pick. I mean, listen.
I think it will be a 4th-round pick.
I think it will be, but anytime you go to trade a 1st-round draft pick, that's horrible, right? Horrible. That's an indictment on your draft. It's an indictment on your personnel, how you evaluate personnel. However, I think it's a good move in the regard that you're going to get a 4th-round pick. I think that's the best you're going to get for him. I didn't even think you'd get that. Thankfully, the Rams had a lot of injuries, but it is absolutely an indictment on your personnel department that you drafted that kid in the 1st round and he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, we've hit that to death. You can't I'll never take a running back in the 1st round. I don't care who it is. It could be Barry Sanders. I'm not doing it. Okay. So that's done. But I think the Patriots make out big time in this.
Oh, they did. I love
this trade. Getting a 4th-round pick for this stiff. You know what? The Rams just don't want to stop giving picks away. I mean, they gave everything away for Stafford, and they're just giving them away, and they gave us a gift, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm happy. I can breathe that now the running backs we think should be on this team are in that locker room.
And Chris, what does
Now we
that
can
say
move
about?
forward
We
with
talk
it.
about what's Belichick's. What is his thing with Newton? What is his thing with Bolden?
Yeah, it's special teams. I mean, it's not surprising. He's a special teams guy. Listen, I'm so happy to see Sony Michel out. I'm fine with keeping Bolden at this point. You know what I mean? 'Cause
I am too.
I just wanted Michel out.
Hey, Chris,
so.
they claim this kid Stevenson from Oklahoma is looking better and better every day in practice.
I honestly think that he's gonna end up surpassing Harris at some point.
Wow, really?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm
really,
a big
really
Harris
do.
guy.
I know you are, but and time will tell on these things, and maybe it'll be a good two-back.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great two-back system, Chris.
So when we come back, there's another trade we're going to want to discuss that relates a little closer to the secondary and the defensive side of the ball, which really gets me really excited. On the other side, Gilmore watch.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
What?
That's
crap
it.
What is wrong with you?
Get him on this damn
You
show.
lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Feel. It's going to be real.
Love them, Joe. Love the graphics, Joe. Love the graphics. This Gilmore watch is being brought to you by Studio 42 Designs. Studio42designs.com. Make sure you type in the 4 and the 2 for all your graphic design needs. Mark, we're in another week of Gilmore watch now, and he still remains sidelined with this apparent quad injury that whatever that we've already discussed last week that we think it's a money
could
thing.
Could it be that he's still out? I mean,
That he's
I don't
hurt,
know.
you mean?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, unless look, I guess it could be that, it's a little tight, it's a little sore. We don't really need him right at this moment. Maybe it's that. Or Mark, is it more this? You remember when, and I think it was Logan Mankins? Was it Logan Mankins who did this?
Yes.
Basically said, okay, so I'm Gilmore. You're going to pay me $7 million. Then you're going to get $7 million worth of player. So I'll see you in week 10. I'll see you because you need what? What do they need? 6 games in order to apply the contract year. So you have to play in the NFL. You have to play 6 games. I think it's 6
To
you
get compensated for the year. Yeah. Otherwise they own him another year.
They own him another year. So
unless you're on IR.
Right. Well, I think, it would take
And I don't think they're going to. Well, will they put him on IR? I don't know.
They may put him on PUP, which will get him close. But maybe Gilmore, as long as Gilmore says, I can't go, I'm hurt, that's where he's going to stay, is on the sideline. So maybe could it be a situation where Gilmore's saying, okay, I'll give you $7 million worth of Gilmore. We'll see you in week 10.
Maybe.
What do you think?
It could be. It could be. I mean, you think Belichick's going to stand for that? He would just try to trade him, wouldn't he?
No, I think he'll just keep him there and use him for the stretch. No, I don't think. But what's he going to do? I mean, what's Belichick going to do?
Yeah, I guess you use him for the stretch if he's willing to give you.
Yeah, you could trade him.
If he's willing to give you 6 or 7 weeks, and if you're in position in a playoff run, okay, I guess you take that. But Chris, it's telling.
Can you really trade him though, Mark? I mean, who team is going to really trade for him in season just for rent him for a few weeks? No.
I'm talking if you trade him now, not in season.
I'm saying, well, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, Chris, the guy they traded for, Sean Wade, interesting guy. When he came out in the draft, I kind of liked him a little bit, but I liked him as a slot guy. I didn't like him as an outside corner guy. So I don't know if you're bringing him in to necessarily help replace Gilmore, because I think he's more of a Logan Ryan type of guy. I think the kid's going to be a real good slot corner for you. You can put him in the slot, and I think the kid could be very good at that. But outside of Jackson, what's going on? Is Jones, is he healthy? Like who's going to play that other position without Gilmore?
Well, evidently Jones avoided a serious injury.
Okay.
Jonathan Jones. He avoided a serious injury, so he'll get back on the field. Wade, I agree. He's a prototypical Patriots sort of corner. Okay. He was we talked about this the draft. He was a logical fit for the Patriots, to take. And I was curious why they weren't looking closer at him while he was still hanging around. He's 6'1", 196. He had a fantastic, he was a first round corner that should have been taken in the first round. in 2019. He decided to go back to Ohio State.
And he
which I
hurt
like.
himself by doing
And
that.
he kind of hurt
But
himself
I'm
a little
surprised,
bit.
Chris, the Ravens didn't hold on to him because they're a defensive-minded football team.
They are, but they're deep there. You know, they have a lot. They have a lot of young talent at the corner position. He's a boundary corner, and for those of you who don't understand, you split the two sides of the field up by, you call it the field side, the boundary side. Simply, all it means is the side of the field that has more real estate. For the ball's on this hash, you know, the side of the field that's wider, that's bigger, that's the field side. The shorter side of the field, the short side of the field, that's the boundary side. So he's not really a field corner. He's not going to play that open end, wide side of the field corner. That's not. He's a boundary guy. He's a short.
And that's what we did. And that's kind of what we did with Logan Ryan,
right.
Chris, if you remember.
And he's that type of guy. But Mark, to me, I see there's two things I see with this guy as it affects Gilmore. Well, the short-term effect is this, and that relates to Gilmore. J.C. Jackson is a field corner. He is an outside guy. So if the thought process is, okay, Gilmore, sit on that sideline till week 10, I don't care. We're going to pull this guy in. We're going to let him play the boundary side. We're going to let him play the short side of the field, the Logan Ryan, and Jonathan Jones. And that combination of people will be able to handle.
And you got Joanne Williams has not looked bad.
Joanne Williams. And this kid will challenge those two guys as well.
Yep. So
maybe Belichick maybe there's something for the short term. In the long term, I feel like this guy is going to be a safety. He's 6'1", 196, and to me, he screams safety in this system.
Okay.
So, Mark, that to me, I think that hurts Gilmore a little bit in his leverage bringing this dude in. I do. I really think that. And again, I don't think it really makes a difference much on the front seven, Mark, because again, your assessment quickly of how they've been performing
Chris,
too.
The front seven, Chris, it's unbelievable. They are lights out. If they stay healthy, Chris, oh my God, it's going to be the front seven, Chris. It's going to be really, really like one of the top front sevens in the league, I think.
Judon is just, he has the potential, and maybe I'm overplaying this, but he hasn't. It's been consistent. The one thing you look for in camp is you look for consistency, right? Put consistent days, one after the next, successful days behind each other. And Judon, to me, is just, I told you, I feel like he has the opportunity to be discussed in Defensive Player of the Year. I really do.
I'm going to tell you something, Chris. If I'm a Patriot coach, I don't put him anywhere on the field Sunday.
No.
You do not risk getting that kid hurt. You leave him on the sidelines. He played in the scrimmage. He played in the practices against the Giants, at joint practices. That's it. He showed you what he's got. Let him rest. Don't put him anywhere near that field. Uche played well again. He was all over the field, they said, against the Giants. He's injury prone. Leave him on the sideline. Those types of guys, Chris, you cannot put on. I will be very upset if you put them on the field Sunday because I don't think they need to work at this point now. Now it's a matter of keeping those guys healthy because those guys are studs. I think Uche, Chris, is going to take a huge step forward this year. Huge.
So, yeah, I agree. I think they know what they have on defense. There's a few guys they have to, get some reps. So do you, real quick, Mark, do you feel like Sunday, you feel tomorrow, okay, tomorrow's game, Sunday night, do you think it's more of a regular third preseason game where a lot of starters play, or do you think they're looking at it like it's wrap up, get these guys on the sideline? Because that's going to matter if Mac Jones and Cam Newton.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a combination, Chris. I think it's going to be a wrap up, get these guys on the sidelines. I think for the front seven guys, I don't think they're going to risk injuring a guy like Hightower or any of those guys. Come on, Joe, I'm not done.
That's it.
Well, that was Gilmore Watch, brought to you by Studio 42 Designs, and it looks like we're now in our 2-minute warning. And our 2-minute warning today is going to be brought to you by Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive for Success. SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Mr. Catone.
Okay, my final word. I'm going to sneak it in because Joe interrupted me. Now, defensively, Chris, I honestly think the front seven, I think is going to be, I don't think you're going to see many of those guys on the field because I honestly don't necessarily think the other side of J.C. Jackson, I'm nervous about that. I want to see how that plays out because Jonathan Jones was up and down last year. I don't have any faith in Joanne Williams. In my opinion, let's get Gilmore in there. Do what you got to do. Put him on the field for the season. You got to give him a little more money. Give it to him. But that's got me nervous. The other side of the field, Chris, has me nervous, and that's really what I want to see.
Yeah, for me, Mark, it's looking at this quarterback situation and Bill Belichick, I really hope that Belichick doesn't scheme and overthink his way out of a good situation with Mac Jones. Now, I agree with everything we've talked about up to this point. Do I think that Mac Jones is lighting it up to a degree where, it's just you have to start him in week one? No, I'm not saying that, but sometimes Belichick gets into these old school ruts where, he needs to pay dues. The whole, if his decision on not putting this guy in the field in week one is based on pay dues, then I think he's really missing something. And I think Mark's right in the sense of the next coach needs to come at this point and usher us into the Mac Jones era. Because if that's the case, if it's just a matter of, and I'm hoping that it's a maturation thing where I as coaching staff have a certain thing in mind and we want to see him watch film, be able to see from the sidelines a full, 2-3 week schedule of NFL football versus college, where your preparation needs to be such, and it's not just a whirlwind in his brain. Fine, but if this is just an old school pay your dues thing, I think he may lose the locker room. So, Mark, Joe, some people to thank tonight. Mark, it flew by again.
Oh, again, always flies
right
by, Chris.
But some people to thank. We want to thank the good people over at Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive to your business to success, specialsaucepodcast.com. Want to thank Jag Media Productions. Again, all you see here is brought to you by Jag Media Productions. Studio 42 Designs. All your graphic designs needs in North Providence, Rhode Island, studio42designs.com. Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal law firm. Allow us to be your voice, corsolawgroup.com. And Mountain View Home Watch and Security, Scottsdale's leading home watch and security firm. We, of course, always want to thank our producer, director, Joe Guarneri. Thank you again. Great show. Good job, as always. So tune in next week. We will be up. This show will be up live. We'll be up all week long. Joe will have us up. So watch again, listen in. The heated hotline, Mark. We want people to call in 24/7 all week long. Pick up the phone, 855-313-PATS. Let us know what you think. We will be back next week live. Now, listen, we will be live on Saturdays, 3 p.m. Eastern time. 3 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be previewing the Miami Dolphins New England Patriots home opener. We're going to be talking all things related to Patriots and New England sports. But for those of you who listen on Tuesdays at 8 p.m., no worries. Joe will have it up. A previously recorded show will be up. You'll be able to hear it. You'll still be able to chat in. You'll still be able to call in and leave those messages. And that's what we want to hear. So make sure you tune in. And don't forget Patriots, the Pats Nation, brought to you by Corso and Catone, starting week 1 of the NFL season, 30 minutes following every single Patriots game. So for Mark Catone, Joe Guarneri, I'm Chris Corso. So long, everyone.